All movies are comedies.
I ought to smile more.
Every one of them. Now stick with me. I was rewatching Lars von Trier's Europa the other day, when I thought to myself within the first few minutes, why does he have a chair on his head? Why does he sit naked on a scale? Then I thought to myself, is this movie a comedy?
The pater is praying for Mariakirche in Westhafen, that the explosions may not harm it. So, das war's. Sie können den Kaffee holen.
No, right? I mean, it's set in post-war Germany. One of the scenes shows a kid wield a gun to commit murder. Not exactly gut-busting material. Nonetheless, there's a darkly comedic undertone throughout. While this film feels least like a von Trier film amongst his filmography, it instead feels like his take on Tarkovsky. And while this does share some of the darkly comedic energy that most of von Trier's films have, I believe its comedy comes from von Trier's deep understanding of the subtle and dry comedy present in Tarkovsky films. For as serious of a filmmaker as Tarkovsky was, I'm certain the best scholars of him could tell you that there lies comedy within his body of work, as there exists comedy in the works of all great directors. To prove this point, I would like to look at 3 directors who generally make serious dramas that are all comedy directors at heart. Number 1. Stanley Kubrick. While Dr. Strangelove and Lolita are widely considered comedies, most of his films are not labeled as such. The Killing, while being very squarely a noir crime flick, is also filled with banter that's hard not to laugh at, situations and characters that are so ridiculous you can only see them as a joke, especially in the scene where the sniper gets caught. Barry Lyndon is another one. In that one, the tragic irony of the narration that follows the misfortunes of Redmond Barry is comical. The scene where he just leaves town and is caught immediately is funny. And just look at Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
What should be done with him? I think maybe he should be taken to a doctor. As soon as possible. Give me the bat.
Need I say more? Now, it can be hard to argue for any comedy in Paths of Glory, but I'm certain upon a rewatch of 2001, I can find something satirical about the monkeys or the robot. Number 2, Wong Kar-wai. There's hardly a film of his that I can remember not laughing at throughout. Despite being known for his slow motion, his romance, his dramatic music, and his carefully staged frames, I think a lot of people sleep on his sense of humor. As Tears Go By is perhaps the funniest of his films, and the most action-driven. The way they use a finger as a pool cue cracks me up, and the dinner scene is just chef's kiss. Chungking Express's first half of the story is basically one big joke at the unfortunate expense of its protagonist, and the second half is also quirky and bizarre. The premise being that she illegally sneaks into his house to clean it for him while he's gone. And don't even get me started on Takeshi Kanashiro's performance in Fallen Angels. He's a national treasure. And while In the Mood for Love and Happy Together aren't exactly super funny, there are definitely moments in Happy Together where their toxic relationship is hard not to laugh at, even while wincing. And number 3, David Lynch. I'm constantly surprised when I'm discussing Lynch with other people and they don't bring up his comedic sensibilities. Having seen every film in his career, I can comfortably say that every single one of them is funny. That David Lynch is one of the funniest directors out there. While he will certainly show you some of the most disturbing and nightmarish material in film, he will put it side by side with some of the wackiest. Take the closet scene in Blue Velvet, for example. It's Hitchcockian in the way that our protagonist voyeuristically watches someone he's not supposed to. It's dark and displays an insanely dysfunctional relationship. But while all of this is happening, Frank Booth says,
"Oh, mommy, mommy."
You can't help but find this uncomfortable and simultaneously comedic. There are many more examples of this kind of dichotomy throughout his filmography. I encourage you to watch all of his films, though you maybe can skip Dune and The Straight Story if you so want to. And please, check out more films by Wong Kar-wai and Stanley Kubrick if you haven't. These are some of the greatest directors ever, but that's the conclusion that I came to the other day when watching Europa. Why do I need to watch studio comedies for laughter when all of my favorite films make me laugh more than them? I will certainly watch a good bit of them regardless for historical context, but I find what's more important is to watch and support filmmakers with actual talent, and ones with a good sense of humor. As much as it seems that films like Tag, Strays, and The Good Boys are a dying breed, maybe it's for a good reason. If you're looking for a comedy that has a bit of a bite and came out this year, might I suggest skipping films like No Hard Feelings and checking out Beau is Afraid instead. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then please like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Sessions on Cinema, and thank you for watching.